I talked about Opaline on this channel before, but that was mostly about her relationship with Misty. Now it's time to do a deep dive into Opaline's mindscape and why she seems to be the way that she is. Chapter 6 revealed a lot about her that made her character more clear. But it started earlier than that. It started with the flashback to Skywars that we saw in Chapter 4. We saw her looking at the sisters with copious amounts of jealousy. Those two were chosen to become princesses, and she was left behind. That broke her. That was the beginning of the end, and the start of her evil nature. She then grew up in Skywars, cut off from all the power and influence she wanted. Growing up, this jealousy leaves some marks, and I'm glad Spike told us what happened next. Apparently, her jealousy got the better of her, and got her banished from Skywars. We don't know exactly why, but regardless, I blame everything that followed on the irresponsible Alicons that let a mentally unstable maniac with basically godlike powers loose into the world of mortal ponies. This is also when she first shows that she is smarter than many think she is, spreading the seeds of distrust between the species. She's fully committing to showing her superiority. That's what happens in the comics, and is what Discord tells us about the events. Then we go back to Spike's story, and Opaline's superiority complex. She thinks she is the best and the most deserving. She is the Alicon in the mortal realm. They are all below her. They're to serve her. That's the difference between the sisters and her. She grew up sheltered in Skywars, like entitled royalty, where Celestia and Luna were more among normal ponies. They had time to live their life and see how other ponies with less power are no different to them. Opaline is adamant in her mindset of Alicons being superior, and it's her motivation to want all magic for herself. Hence, her draining the Dragonfire to establish her superiority. With that, she even wants to put herself above other Alicons. It's interesting to get a confirmation that she is the reason for Twilight acting this way again. Everyone who read the comics already knew. The show sure took its sweet time to catch up, but that's not the point I'm making. What I'm talking about is how smart her actions were. She spreads distrust, disrupting the unity and harmony, which made taking over and acting out the rest of her plan way easier, and explains why the main six couldn't stop her. With the ponies on the verge of war between each other, an outside threat could swoop in and take over. I'm not gonna go over everything that happened with her again here. I talked about that already. What I want to talk about is what she shows in Chapter 6. Her interactions with Misty in particular, because it revealed something important about her. Opaline didn't realize that Misty wasn't loyal to her, that she wasn't her friend. Opaline has this really twisted idea of friendship. Before Chapter 6, I just fully assumed that she knew how controlling and manipulative she was towards Misty. And I still think she partly knows it, but she also was completely convinced that she was still her friend. I've seen it criticized as Opaline being an idiot, but for me that just characterized her more. She thought she was doing the right thing for friendship with Misty, keeping her close. It's a messed up way of showing affection. We see it again with the dragons. She controls them, and thinks that is the friendship that Twilight has been preaching. Funny considering that she probably faced Twilight during G4 times, but she was unable to teach her. That honestly was already proof enough that she likely won't be reformed. Or not yet. If Twilight can teach her friendship, the new main six are gonna have a hard time doing it, even with Misty's help. I'm not saying she can never be reformed, but if it happened at this point, it would have been too early. Her end, right now, is way more fitting. But before I get to that, I want to talk about the fight before. Opaline is finally showing how much of a threat she is. I've seen people complaining about her being too silly and such to be a good villain, but you can still be evil and threatening if you get a bit of a goofy character. I actually quite like it in the big picture. Makes her character more of a character overall, makes her feel more real. Besides that realness, we have a full-on evil side of her, and she knows it. She literally thinks that she is a villain, and as the villain she is holding classic villain speeches, or one at least, showing once again how smart she actually is. She's trying to convince Sunny of her plans, and not gonna lie, I froze up the first time I heard her say that. Sunny is just like her. It's a classic villain speech, and it works on Sunny. As the viewer you think that it's dumb that she's falling for it, but honestly, I don't blame her. It's a stress situation. Everything is riding on Sunny's back. Now Opaline tries to make her already existing doubts stronger. Crumbling is completely understandable. It's too much. And it actually worked, and I expect to see these doubts in Sunny again in the future. We haven't seen the last of them, and I don't think we have seen the last of Opaline either. I know she's now trapped and we have no idea if she can survive inside that tree, but it would be a way too cruel end for a show like MLP if she just simply shriveled up and died inside there. Maybe she goes into some kind of stasis or the tree magically nourishes her or something. But I suppose we'll have to find out. Maybe at some point, with an attempt of Discord-like reformation, or a villain team-up a la the Legion of Doom. But for now, I'm happy she's gone. She stayed for long enough, and did her time well. And with the solution of being trapped, exactly the options of returning are existent. It's better than a reformation. She needs some more time for that. And a straight up death is too much for MLP. Even if her current state could be pretty close to it, it's at least solitary confinement, and if she ever gets out of there, she will be a whole different level of crazy. Would make for a great villain return though. But for now, this is Opaline's fate. What do you think about her arc as a villain? About the end she will have to endure for who knows how long? Let me know. Join my Discord if you want to discuss some more. Thanks to my patrons, especially to Maverick. And until next time for the bonies, fellas, and bye.